Welcome to The American Spectacle, a podcast dedicated to the art of American dance, exploring the past, present, and future of dance, and discussing ways to re-engage communities, young people, in the most American of all arts, dance.
Before we begin, what if one drink could carry the weight of a lifetime? The Dressing Drink, a memoir by Thomas King Flagg, peels back the layers of an orphan's legacy, blending beauty, heartbreak, and hard truths into one unforgettable story. The Dressing Drink, available now wherever books are sold.
Hi, hello. I'm Thomas Flagg, the host of American Spectacle. I'm a longtime supporter and arts advocate of the art of dance. Today, I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Peter Chu. Hello, Peter.
Hi there, how are you?
Good to see you. What a surprise it's been, because as we start the momentum to build what we can here in Bavard, and finding partners. And this is like my addiction, you know. It's like, what do you want to do on Sunday? Let's start dance somewhere, you know. So I've been doing that throughout my life. I did it in the backyard of my farm. I had a farm in New Jersey, and I won't tell the whole story, but I'll tell part of the story. So a tornado landed in the backyard. I mean, it was about 100 acres, and created a perfect 2-acre circle. And I presented dance, site-specific dance, for 10 years. And we had everyone come out from New York, and it was amazing. But I can't seem to get over this affliction, Peter, of just manifesting dance wherever and whenever I can. But we go back. The first time I met you was in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I was doing commercial dance then, and doing all kinds of different things. You were too. And then the next time I saw you, I heard about you all the time from the famous Alexandra Wells, but was at Hubbard Street in Chicago. And you did an amazing piece there, amazing piece. And then the angel on my shoulder, the little birdie, said, and Peter Chu's in Cocoa Beach. And I'm like, Cocoa Beach. At any rate. So please tell us a little about yourself and where it all came from, and how did you get to where, and step. And now I know you're working all the time. James Brown has nothing on you.
No, thank you. Do you want me to start in the very, very beginning?
I want you to start like what got you to, what inspired you? And where did you go to school? How did you go for that? How did you have a vision of moving forward?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short, but I was born in the Bronx, and I left when I was like 3 or 4 years old. My mother brought me to Cocoa Beach, Florida, for health reasons for my nanny. So I grew up here in Florida, and then I would visit and spend the summers in the Bronx and Chinatown during the summertime. So I'd go back and forth, and I went to Cocoa Beach High School. I used to live in Rockledge as well. My mother was a music therapist, the first one in Brevard County.
Yeah.
She worked her way out of what we were experiencing in the Bronx. So I was just so proud of her. And single mother, and instilled the arts, instilled the passion and the importance of the arts. And how we need to be integrating into the school system. So I found she was a music therapist, and it quickly became my therapy. We had an art room growing up. We always had a music room, and she would always let us, when we moved, we would always get to paint and design the room. And we always had a splatter paint wall. She just wanted all the artistic emotions to be thrown on the wall. So we always had one wall where we could just throw paint on. It was amazing. And we, So she was essentially.
I would have been thrown in jail for doing that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I started loving music and loving dance. I would spend the summer times in New York City, and it was when breaking was developing in the 80s. And my father and I would watch them all the time, and we would watch kung fu movies as well, martial art movies. So between those two things have always inspired me. I love movement. But when I went to Cocoa Beach High, I wanted to just pursue academics. I was still dancing at Dusage Dance Studio in Merritt Island. I was a gymnast in Palm Bay and Melbourne. So it was huge. I loved sports. I loved academics, but I was quite confused because we didn't have a lot to offer here in this county. It wasn't known to go to school for dance. We didn't have a performing arts high school or middle school or elementary school.
Is there one here now?
Stevenson, yes. And all the programs I hear at the high schools now, they offer different things. Now, I think you have dance in school, you have different types of dance instead of just doing sports.
Right.
I still had to do PE. They wouldn't even give me credit for the dance or gymnastics back in the day, but now they give you credit.
What sports did you play?
I was a diver, a swimmer, a cheerleader.
Right.
And I retired in gymnastics my freshman year in high school, and then I went into cheerleading and then did dance every day.
Wow.
So, and then academics. So
yeah, which was a lot.
Yeah.
You took it seriously.
Yeah.
Not like I would.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I didn't want to dance after high school because the arts in Brevard County was not, my mother was the music teacher of Brevard County, especially for all the private schools. She would travel from all the private schools and some public schools. And then she was the first person to integrate kids with autism and Down syndrome into the public school system.
Wow.
She's the reason why we have that here in this county.
That's amazing.
She integrated the first year class in Kennedy Middle School. And
That's called God's work.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the infancy. And I basically graduated high school and I was going to go to Ohio State to be a cheerleader and study sports medicine.
Wow. And then suddenly you were walking down the street, you tripped over yourself and you ended up at Juilliard.
Yeah. Well, yes. There was a teacher, Holly Horan. She ran Holly Rocks. It's another studio here in Brevard County. I went there for a year and she brought me to LA in the late 90s. And she was bawling after I was taking class. And she just says, why would you take this away from the dance world? Why are you going to study medicine? And 2 weeks before
I'd like to meet Holly.
Yeah, she's right down the road.
Okay, I want to meet her because that's a great story.
Yeah, and she's the reason why, Mrs. Liz is the reason why I'm dancing, but she is the reason why I turned a complete corner.
Right.
And 2 weeks before I was supposed to go to Ohio State, I called Point Park. I got into Point Park. I never auditioned for Juilliard. And I called Point Park and they gave me the scholarship back. And then I was at Point Park and I went to visit my dad in New York. And I was like, he's like, why don't you just try to audition for Juilliard? Didn't think I would get in. I got in.
Wow.
I wasn't even prepared. I didn't even have back in the day in Juilliard when we were auditioning, you would have to do 2 solos. Right. I won this. It was called a hot leg competition at Point Park because I had no money. I won $45 to pay for my bus ride to Juilliard. I landed at 7:30 in the morning. I stayed with my friend at FIT, slept an hour, and then went to Juilliard. I auditioned. And this is the time where you had to do 2 solos. And Alexander Wells was there watching. I found out I got called back. I was freaked out. So then I got called back and I was like, okay, I have my first solo. It was a lyrical dance. You don't do lyrical dance for Juilliard, but Holly Horan choreographed it. The second I got called back again, the second time, and everyone ate lunch. I didn't eat lunch because I didn't have anything prepared. Back in the day, you didn't improvise. And it was before, no one talked about improvisation. So I improvised my second solo. And you don't do that. But luckily, it got me in to Juilliard. And
maybe you do it. Maybe you do.
Well, I figured it out. So, so that's kind of my story.
But then you said, so you had the practical knowledge. You had probably the highest level of training in the country. And then you said, I'm going to go make this a profession.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Alexander Wells a lot right now,
yeah,
but
there's a reason for that.
I honor Alexander Wells so much. I would not have met Crystal Pite if it wasn't for her. She introduced me to ballet jazz BGM Danse in Montreal.
Love it.
Brought the director in, was the reason why he came in to find us at school. And it was a toss between a major company in Israel or ballet jazz. And
the major company in Israel was?
It was Batsheva. And I went there and I loved it so much and I was going to take it. But for some reason, I wanted more. I wanted to tour and see the world. I don't believe in idolizing and I don't idolize people or things. Right. It's just not me. And I love Ohad so much, but there was so much talk around it and no one knew who Crystal Pite was. And she was the resident choreographer of ballet jazz at the time.
Yeah.
And I made the decision. I was like, I want to work with someone who's not known, who's also making work and developing work with you in real time. Even though Ohad was developing work, but he had such he's an icon. He's incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Don't ever take that away from him. But Crystal, there was something no one knew about her. Right. And was the underdog at the time. And no one really knew about ballet jazz at the time. And it was because of Alexander Wells, I landed there. And then I got to see the world for 2.5 years, 2.5 seasons, and worked with Crystal. And then after that, I met you, and I landed in LA. And because I wanted to be a commercial dancer, it was a huge part of my upbringing as well.
Yes.
I did a lot of jazz and funk, and it's something I needed to get out of my system. And I did it for the year, and then I landed at Celine Dion after that.
With Candy.
Yes, I joined right when she was leaving. So yes, with Candy. I love Candy.
Yeah. I got to know Celine a little bit, and I can't believe her journey. I mean, talk about the journey. We're here put on earth to live a life. Wow.
Yes.
Live a life, baby. Live a life. And what an instrument. And I remember when she was 11, 12, she was one of the Dion Septupla, whatever. And she had her first performance with Mike Douglas out of Philadelphia. And she got up there and she was just like the little Dion, and she just belted that out. And I was like, and I remember that when that happened, and I watched that what an amazing show at Caesar's Palace.
Wow. Yes. Very special. She's an incredible person.
Yes, she is.
Human being.
That's amazing. So now you look at your life and be less. What are you accomplishing these days, Peter? Some pretty great stuff, I hear.
Well, I formed a project-based dance company in 2008.
Right.
We became a nonprofit in 2010, and I'm rebranding the company into a production company. I'm working on commissions. I have the opportunity to choreograph commissions on companies like Gibney Dance Company, Hubbard Street. Was just at Kansas City Ballet.
Oh, great.
Got to work with Cincinnati Ballet in the spring. So I feel very fortunate to be doing what I love.
And internationally.
Yes. I was working on a project. It's called the Moon Festivals of Music and Now Dance Festival. And I was kind of leading the choreography. I created a small piece in 1 week with chamber music.
Right.
And that was in Denmark in August. So I get to travel the world doing what I love to do. I feel very honored.
How great is that?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Maybe it's the best thing you can ever. I've just been traveling a great deal too, and I was so taken, and I think this is the point I'm trying to make. You were imbued with these wonderful skills and talent and opportunities, but I don't see in America as much as I used to see that opportunity, those things. And I was just in Ireland. The culture of dance, the culture of sports, of family is so integrated, is so powerful. It's structurally impenetrable. It's like a steel net. And I thought we used to have more of that here in America. And so my hope is to bring that back, bring it here. I think this town has exceptional potential compared to a lot of others are glutted. They're just glutted. You can't get into them. You don't know, whatever. So I'm hoping to do that here. And what do you think? You think that's a good idea?
I think it's a beautiful idea. Everyone thinks that we need to be in the major cities,
right?
Like New York City or LA.
It's not smart.
And it's wonderful, but I don't think that idea is the only way.
Right.
We need to start in smaller towns.
Right.
It starts there. We need to be celebrating dance, specifically dance and movement in smaller towns, because people are not. What's incredible about Europe, living in Netherlands, and I was just in Ireland this summer too. what's incredible is people crave not just going to celebrate sports or movies. They want to go see dance, and they want those intermissions to discuss dance. And we don't have the conversation around art anymore.
No, who's the spokesperson?
Exactly. And people it's okay to disagree, and it's okay not to like things, but people don't even have those conversations. So I feel it really starts in these small counties, in these small towns, and Brevard County would be wonderful. Especially, I just moved back to be with family and to help and support. Being back in the small town, not used to it. I have to get used to it again. But the beautiful thing is people are craving it. They just don't know how to go about it. So we need people like you to help introduce this.
And people like you. There you go. A partnership built in heaven. I just think we're going through a spiritual battle now, light versus dark. I see so much darkness in what's going on in this country right now. That's really concerns me. I mean, beyond concerns me. And to me, the only way I know how to bring light is through dance and through music and to children because man, I just finished 10 years of working with the toughest kids I've ever worked with. We affected over 100,000 kids, which is amazing. But man, it was a tiny Band-Aid. There's no sports, there's no arts, there's no nothing. And if there's anything you can do to inspire that spirit, and I call it the God spirit, the spirit of our DNA, we all grow up singing and dancing. That's what children do, that innocence. Where does that get chopped off? Well, technology chops a lot of that off these days because we become attached to our instruments, our phones. It's just, I see kids looking at that saying, "Oh, look, I'm dancing." No, you're not dancing. You're watching dance. And that ability to have that in us, to have what I say, God in us and move is absolutely vital to that fight for the light. I mean, it is the light. And the more we can do that here, and it's a sort of I don't know how I ended up here. I got married to an Irish girl. I got divorced from an Irish girl, and I'm in Melbourne. Like, I'm not from Melbourne. I'm from Jersey. What about it?
Right.
But, we'll see how it works out. But I look forward to having more conversations with you and trying to figure out what we might be able to do. And I think you'll meet a lot of also important like-minded individuals. We're not talking Greek here. We're talking, things we all know and share.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Well, thank you for doing what you do. Just to add a little bit to what you're saying, we forget the power of movement, and it's not even getting spiritual. Movement creates a vibration, and vibration is quite healing, and it's healing for diverse communities. It helps us coexist. It helps us work together. It helps us communicate. And the power of movement, it's a physical language. And I wish it was integrated in the school system much more. I wish people would get into their bodies a lot more. I'm on this mission to spread the passion for movement.
That must be our mission, because I just spent 10 years doing that. And it was beyond challenging. I brought in some of the best hip hop dancers from New York, Philly, Baltimore. And these guys were seriously challenged, like paralyzed to teach, because the energy was so, it has a lot to do with the music. It has a lot to, I'd have to say, we're only playing old school. We're not doing any of the, no gangster rap, sorry. But, they did learn. I mean, Jamal Story is here. He came and he did the most incredible thing in front of 300 kids in York, Pennsylvania. They didn't know what to expect. He didn't know what to expect. He got up, he gave a performance, he gave an abbreviated class, he talked, and it was amazing. So it is so important that we have, and we're able to attain people of inspiration. We have to retire from Ailey. We have to retire from Dance Theater of Harlem. I got a place for you. Let's start putting that back in there, but make sure that they can earn a good living while doing that.
Maybe plant some ideas, but I was just at Charlotte Ballet a few years ago, and Hope Muir was the director of Charlotte. She's the director of National Ballet of Canada now, but she brought me in to do the REACH program, they call it.
Right.
And we could do something like that in Brevard County. It was so special. I spent 2 months going into all of the different schools to teach them. They wanted to have a collaboration with the Philharmonic. Philharmonic chose a very specific piece of music, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. And I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. So I chose to go with the mission of everyone has the right to move. Everyone has the right for movement education. Sure. And it should be free. It should be available. So I called the full piece Rights. And we had 90 dancers, 90 humans from 7 to 15-year-olds. And then I included the Charlotte Ballet 2 and the apprentice and trainees. So it's like so many dancers on stage. Half of those dancers never been on a stage in a theater. I got to work with them for 2 months doing the Rite of Spring. All these beautiful, beautiful young minds. Linda Chow did the costume design. During the dress rehearsal, they walk on. They were so in awe. They all run on the stage. They do their first few measures of movement. All of a sudden, all the kids stopped. And they just started staring and clapping and smiling at the live music and looking at the chairs. And it was amazing. I teared up. They've never been in the theater before. And we need more things like this.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
But you know what I want to do is commend you, because you have to either be a genius, a hero, or out of your friggin' mind to get 90 people on that stage. No, just the vision, right? Yeah. The vision. It's one thing. I have a guy, that's why I always start small. Give me a tapper, just one, please, and you have 90. So congratulations. Yeah. That's great. Okay, I think we've done a lot of good work today. God bless you and thank you. Peter Chu. If you enjoyed today's episode, please join us for upcoming podcasts, where we'll speak to some of the most consequential voices in the dance world. For more information, you can go to my website, thomaskflagg.com. In addition, you can find me on all social media platforms. If you want to learn more about me and my unique journey, please check out my book, The Dressing Drink. It chronicles my early life and efforts to better understand my parents, both entertainers in their own right. I'm Thomas Flagg, and thank you for joining us today.